All right. Welcome, Karen. It's good to see you, dear.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've invited my friend Karen LaPuma, who is a quite well-known astrologer in this area. And I was very curious because we were doing the Magdalene Feast Day celebration. And at the Magdalene Feast Day celebration, there is going to be, it's on July 26th. This is a flyer to
Is it
show you the
July 22nd?
July 22nd,
Okay.
Wednesday. It starts at 6 p.m. at 8:30. And because the week before is the harmonic convergence, and we haven't had the harmonic convergence for anyway, it's an auspicious time because there's the planetary alignments that's causing the harmonic convergence to be activated. And so in the meantime, I had gotten a vision to do the Magdalene Feast Day and do it on the theme of rising into love, which is, you'll see here, rise up in love, because we're having a lot of people rising up and demonstrating for a better world. And, obviously what it takes is for people to take a stand and commit to a world living in love. And so we typically have about 40 to 50 people participating in our Magdalene celebrations and rituals. So I'm asking 100 Magdalene women and sacred men who are devoted to the divine feminine to really dedicate their time to this event and to come and demonstrate by taking a stand for light, for love, as a collective, as a unifying field. So I was really curious because it often turns out that when we do a chart of that day and the time of the event, that it magically correlates. So maybe I'm going to have you speak a little bit to that, Karen, and then we'll show the chart, and then you can kind of explain the chart to us. Let's see here. Let me get, I have to stop share. So you want to say?
Well, this 2020 is a profound time. It's because we have a massive conjunction in Capricorn. Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, Pallas Athena, which is the feminine logos. And Ceres was there in January. We have this massive conjunction in the sign of government and structures, and so we're having a revolutionary evolution that's happening right now. And people were standing up because we have the planet of Eros, which is the goddess of discord, squaring this exactly with Pluto. And so the people is the individual as Aries, and the government and police force and structures are Capricorn, and there's a challenge we're really having. So this is an enormous time. The last time it happened was 1518, which was the Reformation and the it's beginning of the Renaissance. I mean, Renaissance was before, but
which is following the bubonic plague, right?
Black Plague, right? Followed that, and then so this is enormous. Cortez came over in 1517 to the Aztec culture and wiped it out in 20 years. So we're having a major time of transformational energy, and these three together are empowering and transformative. It's death, rebirth, regeneration, and expansion of that. So that is what we're dealing with right now, and it's not over. It's definitely not over. And we're in eclipse season right now. On the 5th, we'll have the last of the lunar eclipse, and then we'll have two more at the end of the year. So that also represents transformation of nations and powerful times that influence 6 months, not just a month. So we're the backdrop of 2020 is profound and revolutionary.
So let me share the actual chart for the day and the time that we're going to start, so you can talk a little bit about what we're seeing here.
So all this conjunction that I'm talking about is in the house of self in this chart. And so the individual is coming together, and it's a Sagittarius rising, which is inspirational, philosophical, you know, inspiring us to our goals and desires is our rising. And then we have Sun at 0 degrees Leo and Moon at 0 degrees Virgo. And when 0 degrees, this is right after the new moon, which is new beginnings. This is seed bearing time for us. And what's important in this chart is the nodal axis. So we have the south node at 2841 Sagittarius, which is in the first house, and the north node, which is the path of integration, is in the 7th house. So this is coming together, seed bearing time, coming together with others to create some revolutionary time. And we're instigated because Mars is sitting right on the nadir, the bottom of the chart. In Aries, its own sign. So this is the warrior sign. And here is that little 24 Eris, and you can see how it squares that 24, this red line that goes from Aries to Capricorn. And so this is a time of the individual coming together and really making the changes.
Now, you were saying something to me about the nodes and how
So
the nodes.
the nodes are right on our ascendant descendant. So this is very auspicious because it's like the world axis or the world transit is right on us, and it's saying we need to come together with others. So
Yeah.
it's really potent. And what's interesting is Neptune is squaring those nodes. So through spirituality and creative visualization, we can dissolve the miscommunications, because this nodal axis, Sagittarius Gemini, is a disseminating of wisdom. That's what this axis is telling us. And through the spirituality, through prayer, through meditation, through creativity, through joining with others. This is transformational. This is regeneration, because they're in the house of Scorpio, the 8th house, which is the house of, I often call it, you know, pain if you do, pain if you don't. What needs to be happening? What needs to be integrated? And this particular is the house of deep transformational energy. And because we're just beginning and joining with others and breaking these barriers down, and really being activated and with our own spirituality and our own creative energy. And we have a Venus-Mars sextile, which is creative and social and connecting with others. We have Juno, the planet of commitment, the marriage maker. What are you married to? And that is our purpose. Our purpose is to be committed to, and it's also in Libra, which is balance. And Mars is activating that, instigating.
So
And
it's like the collective needs to be activated to come together, to the purpose being to create a world living in love. And by taking a stand or making a commitment with the divine feminine and the sacred masculine and that Libra balance, we actually can move forward. It's the beginning of a new world, a new life, a new earth. But you know, if you're not going to do it, who is? See, because it's about us, but it's not us alone. It's us as a collective mind, and joining at the heart and having the wisdom of the heart. In ritual, we can begin to activate this desire to move into a world living in love, because we're so done with the old patriarchy and the old paradigms that don't serve people, starve people, make people work unnecessarily hard for no good reason other than profit and greed. So
Well, it's interesting how Black Lilith, which is a new planet that it's not even a planet, it's an area in the heavens, but she represents the feminine, the activation of the feminine, and she is trining the sun and in conjuncting the moon. So there is a real activation of the feminine who's standing up and speaking. And she was Adam's first wife, and she didn't want to be subservient. So through history, she was, evil supposedly. But
this is Lilith.
Lilith, this little
Yes.
dark one here down here. But
Oh, that's
also,
interesting.
I also see a Mercury, a Mars Mercury. So there's energy in the mind, determination, and it forms a T square: Mars, Juno, and Mercury, which is a three-legged table or a bicycle. It's enormous amount of energy. So but it's really it's very, very important, so that we really sow the seeds and are committed to
Yeah.
this living in love, and being love is what I call it.
Yeah.
And love is allowing and accepting and feeling compassion for other people and letting go of resistance. We're here, we're moving forward, and Lilith, Eris, this 24 Aries down here at the bottom in the fourth house, is the symbol of the feminine warrior, the goddess warrior who's speaking up and saying her truth. So that's a very, very important.
And this is what's happening on the feast day of Mary Magdalene. And back in 2016, Pope Francis actually elevated her status to apostle to the apostles. So she's leading the apostles now, and recognized in her true role, because when she appeared to Jesus, that was a brilliant strategy on his part to make sure that she survived, and also to acknowledge and honor her as his equal, that we are all one. And so she's not, as Peter says in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, lower than life itself. She is actually the same spirit, the same life force that breathes, that brings the expression of the divine in the same way that Jesus did. And in that famous Martha and Mary story, she's sitting at his side, listening to him, and she's getting it, she's understanding. And so she actually had that transformative experience of knowing that she's one with God. But the whole priestess community was suppressed, it was dumbed down, it was pushed aside. And then when we tried to rise, we ended up in the era of the witch burning, and that created enormous problems for women. It's terrified them, and it cut off our voice. And we're 51% of the population, and we haven't been speaking up what every woman in her heart of hearts. She loves the babies, she loves the children, she doesn't want children starving, she wants the community to thrive, she wants to bring people together, she has that nurturing quality. So, you know, the good news is that we are now at the time where women's voices can come forward. The men who honor this sacred divine feminine, they can also come forward and stand beside her as a balanced and whole equal, not her other half that makes her whole, but as in partnership. And then from that partnership, we can move forward to creating, because we are co-creating, so we can create a world living in love. And so the time is now. So any other thoughts or feelings that you have on the chart, and then
Well,
I'll go back.
the feminine is in the third house, so we are speaking up. We're Ceres is nurturing. Pallas Athena is an aspect of the feminine. She's right there with this massive conjunction. She's the feminine logos. Ceres is nurturing, and she's with Neptune in Pisces. So there's collective nurturing, and then we have uh, Vesta in the Vesta, which is the ability to be contemplative and grounded. And she's in the house of others, with others, of an angular, strong house. And Juno, which is the commitment maker, she's right there. We need to make a commitment. We're putting the seeds in the dirt. New life is going to be born. We're revolutionizing and evolutionizing ourselves. We're instigating, and energy is moving. There's enormous healing and humbling going on. And we're really, we're really speaking our voice with Eros and Aries. And that's squaring all of it: Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter.
And isn't Neptune, what is Neptune's energy?
Neptune I call the mystical escapist. It's the urge to go higher in consciousness.
Yeah.
And because it's nebulous, and it can be illusions and delusions, it's also creativity and spirituality and endless boundless power. And it is squaring these nodes. So we don't know what's true and what's false. So there's a lot of nebulousness now, but if we can activate it, squares are energizing and they're conflicting. And so this is a real energizing that we need to activate our spiritual practices, commit to our purpose with each other, and really communicate our wisdom. That's what's really said. Sagittarius is wisdom. Gemini is communicating in a ability to understand, bite-sized pieces of understanding. And
Yeah, and so what we have happening is on Wednesday, July 22nd, which is the feast day of Mary Magdalene, we're calling for you to join us and to bring a candle with you, where in the opening initiation or activation, you will be led through a ritual to light your candle, to take a stand for a world living in love, and to bring your light and your love forward whole and complete in a wholehearted way, with singing and chanting and dancing and beauty and truth, because this is what the feminine brings to the expression of the divine. It brings all these wonderful qualities that need to feed our collective consciousness so that we can start choosing a world living in love instead of choosing, this insanity that's we're all observing, and we can move into healing and transformation. So it's really powerful for me to hear you speak of what an awesome auspicious day this is, and how tied it is to all of these principles
and
that we already had put into place as what we were going to do. And then I thought, oh, I should check it out astrologically and see what happens.
well, there's an exact sextile, which is an opportunity aspect with Mercury, which is the mind, and Uranus, which is the revolutionary. And there's an opportunity and it's in our fourth house, which is our fundamental self. So we're dealing with this tremendous energy of creative mind, synthesizing mind, and it connects with nurturing. So, and it also connects with Juno. So this is Uranus, the revolutionizing, I call them the rebel genius aspect, is affecting the mental energy of this day and this time.
Yeah.
So that also.
So if you feel called that you are to be what we call the forerunner of Mary, that you are one of these people that wants to take a stand for a world living in love and wants to join in this collective, because each of us look at the heartbreaking things that we see in the world and we go, what are we going to do? How do we change this? How can we? I'm just one person. So we must join. It's the gathering and the joining at the level of the heart and creating a field of love that strengthens and vibrates and raises the frequency for all of us, so that we can all feel that we can co-create together a world living in love. So bring your candle, come to our website, gospelofmarymagdalene.info, and you'll find the link there to be able to register. And it's by donation, so whatever you can donate was greatly appreciated. And let us come. We anticipate over 100+ devotees, women who hold Magdalene in their heart, that hold the divine feminine in their heart, and men who feel the same way collectively. So thank you so much, Karen. We really appreciate your joining us, and I appreciate your coming into the thing and doing this with us. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Blessings.
Okay, blessings. Bye. Woo. Thank you, Karen.
It starts with the mind, changing our mind. That's basically what that chart says. Starts with the mind.